Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this week's NXT review. What a fantastic show. They crammed so much into this week's show. I honestly didn't think you could get that much into an hour. And really that explains, why Hideo was a little overshadowed. He does kick off the show. And he's got an interesting opponent in Sean Maluta, because Sean has just come out of the CWC, the Cruiserweight Classic, but there was so much that happened. Unfortunately, you just weren't thinking about Hideo come the end of this show. Hideo, we'll go through it all. As I said, I thought this was a fantastic week because feuds were furthered for TakeOver, certainly in the likes of the tag team titles and Bayley and Asuka. And also you've got Joe running Rampage, Ember, Moon. We'll get to it all, but let's start with Hideo. I thought this was a little flat. I thought his strikes, I think this is a great time for Hideo to come back. He makes more sense now, because there wasn't really that kind of appetite for what Hideo was doing before, or not more mainstream appetite. But now, because of Asuka, because of what Hideo really had started, because of Nakamura, because of the emergence of strong style kind of coming over and more into the mainstream in the kind of Western markets, then you're starting to see people appreciate that style more. This is the perfect time for Hideo Itami to come back. He could be a big player, and unfortunately this match was just a little bit flat. I think that his opponent was good, Sean Maluta we've seen in the CWC, but he didn't set the CWC on fire by any means. I'd say he was one of the weaker competitors actually, so I was a bit disappointed that this is all Hideo had. But saying that, it's not just a complete nobody. At least he's come back against somebody we have seen compete in a fairly high profile match. But Hideo just needed to steamroller somebody. Note wise, I've got nasty scar down on his shoulder, which they zoomed in on. You can see why he's been out for as long as he's been out. Corey Graves said in this match as well that Hideo doesn't know who attacked him, which I thought was really interesting, because I think that's NXT's way of going, yeah, that's done. It was going to be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens isn't around anymore. Let's just move forward. Or, they could have gone with Rhino or someone that was on the roster at the time. I honestly don't know who's on the roster now that was on the roster a year ago that's a heel that could be that person, which is a real shame because they've got a ready-made feud there, a ready-made story. Dragon Screw takedown was impressive. Hideo went for a haluva kick, fast strikes, loads of fists and a spinning back kick, running knee finisher as well. Really those were the highlights. Everything else was just kind of standard affair. You've got to shake off the ring rust. That's absolutely fine. I'm not judging Hideo Itami on this match. It's nice to have him back, run-of-the-mill stuff, but he's gonna have to get a bit more impressive than this. This is his time to shine, and you look at that kick from Kota Ibushi last week, which I'm still hearing. Then that you can see where the mark is at the moment, and that's the level that Hideo needs to be aiming for. New logo as well for NXT Brooklyn too. They showed it during one of the music videos. It's the same logo, but it's got like this chain coming off it with a 2, like Roman numerals 2. I just thought that was quite interesting. See, the chain and the logo, it looks quite hip hop, and they don't really go hip hop. They go more metal with like the style of music, and obviously appearing at Download. So I just thought that it was cool to see the logo for NXT Brooklyn for me the first time. Backstage segment, and this was a lot of fun. This was Revival interrupted by TM61, and they were saying that it's that they get a chance, or they should be considered a chance at the titles. And then Ciampa and Gargano, come on, this was a great week for Ciampa and Gargano. They were coming on saying that they've got their ticket and their ticket is number 1. Because Revival was saying to TM61, you need to get a ticket and get to the back of the queue. Obviously, Gargano and Ciampa have already beaten the Revival, and so they were like, well, we've got a ticket and it's got number 1 written on it. And like it was just funny how it all played out, because like when the Revival left, TM61 grabbed the invisible bell and they were like, don't take our bell, come on, it's just a metaphor, it doesn't even exist. And it's a nice backstage segment, a little bit of light relief. Next up, we had Mojo Rawley against Chris Atkins. Literally, there was one shoulder charge, and this looked like it was going to get a 3 count. Before, I think the ref hit the 3, or the ref might have even hit the 3. Samoa Joe interferes. As soon as I saw this match, I knew something was going to happen, because Mojo Rawley doesn't compete as a single star, and even if he did, he would be used against somebody who's, you know, a little better known than, say, Chris Atkins. Samoa Joe runs rampant. This was a great segment, actually. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, because Mojo comes back at Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe gets knocked down, and then Joe slaps on the coquina clutch on the ramp on Mojo, cuts a promo saying to Regal, look, if you're going to, you know, make decisions without consulting me, I'm going to, you know, run rampage over your show without consulting you, and I'm very interested to see how this is going to progress and how all of this story will unfold. No Nakamura this week. I should imagine we'll see him next week. But you've got to think that Regal's going to be in this storyline somehow, because, well, they're kind of making it about that, you know. Regal's made the match without telling Joe, and now Joe's kind of seeking revenge wherever he can on Regal. I don't know, we'll have to see how it all plays out, but I mean, I'm on board with it. Next, we get Bayley in a backstage segment saying she's ready for Asuka. Asuka then comes out and goes, well, you know, do you really think you're ready? Watch this. Bayley comes out onto commentary. Asuka comes out for her match. Asuka's up against Aaliyah, who I've never been a massive fan of, but I did praise her last match because she has improved a lot since we saw her on the Breaking Ground documentary. But I'm a massive Asuka fan. This was always going to be a squash. Asuka is both Asuka and Bayley are showing different sides to their characters now, because Asuka went and grabbed a chair, slammed it down on the ramp. She's like, sit here, don't sit at commentary, I want you ringside seat, I want you to watch what I'm about to do, which, you know, is brilliant for her character development. Again, for character development, Bayley grabs the chair, chucks it to one side and stands there like this. You know, she is not portraying the huggable, lovable one in this feud. Neither of them are heels, but Asuka's probably healing it up more than what Bayley is. And yeah, you know, this match was brilliant. I honestly really enjoyed it because it was pretty brutal. Like, there was hip attacks, loads of strikes, massive right hand from Asuka. Don't know if you saw it, but Aaliyah was against the ropes. Loads of quick strikes and then a bang. It's like, oh man, it's like fantastic. She gets down for a 3 count. She's got her down for quite a while. The referee, I don't think, quite notices, so he hesitates. When he does finally start counting it, she picks her up at 2. Starts smiling over at Bayley. It's just one of those moments. Oh man, I loved this. And so then she's like kneeing her, kicking her in the head, gets her down, slaps on the Asuka lock. Like, Aaliyah's tapping out, just like holding on to it, not letting it go. Bayley comes in, Asuka lets it go, and Bayley's going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Asuka's just like, yeah, whatever. I just love it. I love it. So this is building up for a big rematch. Bayley against Asuka at TakeOver. Contract signing next week. Cannot wait. Little promo for Ollie Walken, who was the guy that beat Ty Dillinger the other month, which I'd completely forgotten had happened. They're clearly building him up, but they were saying, like, in this bit, he was getting interviewed and he was saying, I've got to go back to my roots. What does that mean? What are his roots? Where's he gone to? Are we going to find out in the future? You know, I don't see this guy being a big talent. He's got a bit of Cesaro about him. I don't know why, but yeah, we'll have to see what they're building him up for. But yeah, watch this space. And if you want to talk about watching this space, we finally found out, didn't we? finally found out what that promo or that little kind of montage thing was. It wasn't a montage, that's the wrong word. It was an image kind of last week, and it had this kind of demon. It looked like a demon in a woods kind of a scene, and then it just disappeared. This week we found out a little bit more, that demon or that creature kind of standing up in the middle. The voiceover says myth arises above voices. It heralds legends. They're going for that mythology angle with this new character, and then it came up on screen. Ember Moon, 20th of August is when she will make her debut. She I can't remember what her name was before, but yeah, it's very, very exciting, very, very exciting, because I think the women's division needs a character like that. So yeah, let's see. Bobby Roode out next for a promo in the ring, and this was really cool because he came out like a face. Wasn't sure about his music. His music didn't seem right to me. It's like glorious, I won't give in, I won't give in, and it's got this kind of rejoicing, kind of, you know, positive kind of vibe to it. For me, he just looks like he could be a rip of Triple H. You know, I'd be expecting him to be kind of booked that way, mini Triple H. Not that he's mini, he's massive. But yeah, he comes out and says that he knew NXT was the place to be. No one has revolutionised wrestling quite like NXT has revolutionised wrestling. And, you know, he was saying that NXT isn't, you know, about just the superstars, it's about all of you, and it was great. And I've put down here, this is a face promo, and I was so excited because I think they need male face talent. There's really not that many faces, you know, there's a lot of heels, and there's not that many faces. It's good to have Hideo back. Hideo, I think, will be a face. Obviously, you got Nakamura, but no way Jose. I don't know, you start to struggle because all the others are heels. So I was like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. And then he turned it heel, didn't he? And he starts going, you know, we're going to have CEOs here, we're going to have businessmen, all of you commoners with your oversized T-shirts, you'll be out. You won't be here anymore. I'm going to make this place a better place. I'm going to make NXT glorious. So yeah, it was good, and I thought Corey Graves did a great job. You know, as soon as the promo was over, Corey Graves was going, "Rejoice, Tom, rejoice," and you could tell he was really buying into it all. So I'm interested to see how that progresses, but I am worried about what faces there are in NXT at the moment. Next up, we had the main event, which was TM61 against the Revival. Good work from the Revival, cutting the ring in half, doing a lot of that old school kind of wrestling stuff. There was like a dropkick party from TM61, 3 in a row from those guys. Mean arm lock from Revival, spine buster for the 2 count for TM61. TM61 basically run into a DDT. Revival pick up the win. The crowd were quiet for this match. This as a main event did not do it, missed the mark. So yeah, I think it was, in ring wise, it was a little disappointing this week because you had Hideo versus Sean Maluta, which I just didn't think really was that great. Mojo against Chris Atkins, which didn't do anything. Asuka Aaliyah was a squash, but I really enjoyed it. And then we had the TM61 Revival, which again, it was alright, it wasn't a disaster by any means, but God, it couldn't be further away from like Revival, American Alpha. TM61 just aren't there yet. They've got masses of potential, really athletic, big guys, like tall. They can work in the ring, very talented. They can get there, but I think they're a good 12 months away from you know, delivering what really we want to see. So yeah, quiet crowd. Revival pick up the victory, and then out come Gargano and Ciampa. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant moment. This was, for me, one of the highlights of this week's show, because they come out and they start picking up like, oh look, here's all the people you've beaten. American Alpha, that's really good, really impressed. Yeah, American Alpha. What's this one? Hollywood Blondes. And then they start, you know, making out that the Revival are Arn and Ollie Anderson. start making out that they've been wrestling for like 20, 30, 40 years, and like how like they are a throwback, just kind of playing on the fact that, you know, they are, you know, clearly not rip-offs, but take their influences from a different era. And then they start going into other things. They said that Pikachu and Charmander, and then there was Pikachu chants from the crowd, and then the moment where Ciampa turned to Johnny and went, have you been collecting them all? Talking about Pokemon. And Johnny was like, nah, the only thing I'm interested in collecting are those NXT tag titles. Whoa! Crowd are all up in the air. It's like, yeah! It was an awesome moment. Crowd were totally on board. And then there was like the beat down between the two teams. This clearly is building towards Revival against Gargano and Ciampa, and that is a match I'm desperate to see. I think that the Revival are going to win at TakeOver, but equally I think that Gargano and Ciampa deserve a chance at the titles and deserve to hold them at some point. And in fact, they held them as the show closed this week, so I don't think that'll be a precursor. I don't think that'll be how it's all going to go, but don't know. NXT could surprise us, could put the belts on those guys. Could be they put the belts on Gargano and Ciampa, and then out come the Authors of Pain. Didn't see those this week, and I would love the Authors of Pain. I think I said it last week, to go on to SmackDown and you know, interfere in alpha matches on SmackDown. They've got Paul Ellering. I just think that, yeah, you could have them down in NXT for a year or two, but you could do that as well. But I just think they're clearly in a feud with the hottest tag team, or one of the hottest tag teams in the whole of WWE, which is American Alpha. I don't see how they can just drop that now. That also is what frustrates me about the main roster, the fact that the New Day were in that feud with the Wyatts, and the brand split happened, and now that's done. Now it's New Day in the club, and Bray's kind of, I don't know, trying to interfere with the World Heavyweight Championship match, isn't he? So I don't know, there's an awful lot going on anyway, and I thought NXT was very good this week. It's just in-ring action couldn't quite match the excitement of everything else. Cool. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. I'd really appreciate it if you could like the video, if you like the video. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate that as well. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Wrestling Days UK. And honestly, I think that's everything. It was good. Yeah, it was really good. Hopefully then, see you again next time. Bye for now.